Hey everybody, welcome to another adventure in real estate here with the Kingery team at Mountain to Lake Realty. Guys, we continue to bring information to you here as the real estate market continues to churn along here, and as we're marching here into the end of February, beginning into March, and um, there's things people asking about the spring market and what's going on. Is the market has slowed down. I'm hearing lots of different chatter. And again, guys, we try to bring you the latest and greatest here, and today's not going to be any different. Um, I'm reminded a little bit of when I was in college. I had a professor, and he had sort of Robert's rules that he would share with us. Of course, his first name was Robert, and it was his classroom, so you had to abide by Robert's rules. And so today in this adventure, what we're going to talk about is I'm seeing this market is changing. I do think the pace of the market is slowing down some, or at least it has. December, January, February here, and as we move along. I'm reminded if you're a seller in this market, um, there's a couple things that seem to be happening that are concerning, and I'm not going to go as far as Robert's rules and say these are absolutes, but I'm gonna encourage you to think about a couple of things if you're a seller in this market. And the first thing is, guys, when we come on the market with that listing, with your property there for sale, we've got to be realistic about what that property is truly worth. So we come to you and we share with you those comps. We share with you what's gone on in the market, and we give you we think is a fair market estimate, a fair value for your property, and what you should list that property for. You really need to take that to heart. Because saying, well, I appreciate what you're saying, but why don't we try this? And if there's a whole lot of difference between this and maybe what the suggested list price was, I, I'm really that's just it's a difficult situation to be in when you list your property and you come out of the gate just too high, right out the gate. Man, it just really that's a big obstacle to overcome. You just kind of start off on the wrong foot, and you guys you've met someone, I'm sure, that you had that introduction, and didn't it just didn't go like you'd hoped, and that's a tough. You can overcome it, but that's just a tough situation to be in, and I think that's a very good analogy here when we look at what's going on in this market right now. And so coming out of the gate, that first day, that first listing uh, day there, when everything is out, it's brand new, and everyone's checking it out, looking at the great pictures, looking at all the features that your property has to offer, and we're just overpriced in this market. That's just a tough place to be. Second thing, as a seller, that I'm kind of seeing is, guys, we got to be open to repairs. If we're selling our home, folks are doing a home inspection, and they come up with some repairs, some things they'd like to have. I'm not suggesting that we just yield to whatever requests they may have, but we need to be open to that. And guys, I tell you that in just the spirit of the general compromise and working with a buyer in the sale of your home. If you take a hard and fast stance and say I'm not doing any repairs, hey, that's fine. That's fine. But let's communicate that from the beginning. Let's not get into a situation where we were operating in good faith, and then you just say, absolutely not. I'm not doing any repairs, and not communicate that from the onset, because that really just puts us in a bad spot. And guys, when we look at what's going on in this market, inventory is growing, so there are more options. If you compare January of 2026 to January of 2025, there was over 40% more listings to look at than what we would have had in January of 2025 just a year ago. So inventory is growing. We've got more options. So you're going to have to be a little more open-minded about sales and about repairs or whatever concessions that might be coming about. Let's consider them for what they are and move in that direction from that standpoint. So those are a couple things that I see that are going on in this market. As this market begins to change, I do anticipate we're going to see more inventory here as we move into March and April. Just traditionally, that's been a great time to sell your home. It's still a great time to sell your home. I don't want to give you that impression, but from our standpoint there, we just got to be, as a seller, let's think about these things. Let's get our mind right from the outset, and I think we'll have a much better result. So with that being said, we're going to let this wrap up today's adventure in real estate. If you've got interest in buying or selling property, we'd love to hear from you here at the Kingery team at Mountain to Lake Realty. Until next time, take care, everyone.